What's going on? It's your boy Crazy Alcayne. CAC TV. We're here at ECBACC 2010 is going down. We catching all of the comic book creators, illustrators, inkers, writers, doing their thing right here. Got my man right here. He's actually my mailing list. I don't even know. Like,
that's right.
The word is spreading with the CAC TV stuff. No doubt.
Never miss an episode.
Tell everybody your name and exactly what you do.
Rob Stull, 17 years deep in the comic book industry, primarily as an inker, but I've also I've kind of branched out, sort of unifier. I created what's on record as the first ever art show, where I curated a show of 15 artists, over 100 pieces of art. And this is back in the mid-90s. African-American artists, mainstream African-American artists, like the purpose was to try and bring a better understanding of the medium of comic book art that we do, but also to show the contributions that black artists have made, you know, in the mainstream business. You know, we work on Spider-Man, we work on Batman, we work on Superman, and it's not so important to know that when you're just a kid picking up a book, but I think the impression that the kid, you know, boy or girl, is left with, knowing that, you know, a writer or an artist or an inker or colorist or whatever example looks like them, is a strong representation of what we do. Because everybody identifies with Spider-Man and Batman and all of the recognizable characters.
Hold on. Announcements, the notorious announcements.
The name of the show was The Next Step, or Sequential Art, The Next Step, and traveled for a total of 10 years. You know, we've been down south, we've been to the Words and Pictures Museum in Northampton, we were going to be in Philly. We've done a lot of cool things with it, so, you know, it's important for young people, you know, to see people that look like them doing, you know, things that they think are cool and that they dig.
Hey, I mean, I was telling somebody earlier that I went to the comic book convention in New York like 3 years ago and didn't realize how many black people was doing it.
Probably there.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I was like, oh snap! And then that's when I first was told about the ECBACC convention that came down. So
well, it's similar with me. You know, I broke into the business around 93, 94, and I was meeting artists whose work I follow, like Larry Stroman. And you know, it sounds so silly when you meet him. You're like, hey, I never knew you were a black guy. Right. You know, but that's what I said. You know, and
well, it's because, you know, it's not promoted like that. You know, it's not something that people put out there like, oh, did you know that we do that too? You know what I mean? So
yeah, and you know, I guess there's a good reason for that. I mean, it's not all that important to know the ethnic background of the creators that are working on the books that you like, unless it's a conscious attempt and effort to bring attention to that. Like, you don't need to know that the artist that's working on this particular issue of Spider-Man is a black guy, but it's nice to know when you find out, you know. And you know, artists that I met, you know, in the early mid-90s when I was breaking in, you know, I broke bread with them, and they've been friends to this day. So it's a 17-year career for me.
That's good. And what comic books have you worked on?
Pretty much everything. I mean, one of the questions you get asked a lot when you do this kind of stuff is, well, what would you like to do? And it was never really all that important to me, like I always wanted to work on Wolverine or the X-Men. It was more like I was more turned on by the medium. So when I was a kid, I used to draw comic books for fun and sell them to my friends, like in 3rd grade and stuff like that. So I wasn't all that turned on by a cartoon character per se. It was more collaborating with artists that I respected. That was cooler for me. So to answer your question, I've worked on Wolverine, the X-Men, Spider-Man. In some form or capacity, I've pretty much worked on every character that I've ever wanted to work on. I've worked for pretty much every company that I've ever wanted to work for. Everybody knows what a graphic novel is. This is just a collection of this particular series, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, published by Marvel Comics. I did an annual, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man annual, which was the first annual for that book. And there's a French artist out of, I'm not sure where he's from. Name's Ronan Cliquet. and I was inking his pencil work. And I did a series of covers for a Back in Black campaign, and all of that stuff is in there. But the bulk of this is drawn by an artist friend of mine named Todd Knock.
What's this?
That's
I've been out the loop, so I don't know a lot of the comic books.
Aspen Comics. Any comic book fan out there has probably heard of Michael Turner. Passed away, R.I.P. That's his company, Aspen. And this particular title is a book called Delic. It's about like your typical good versus evil story, kind of a guy wrestling with himself, you know, trying to do what's right. And that's a 6-issue series. Meltingearth.com. That's a website you can check me out. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all the social networks. I also do other things. I've had some art shows to kind of promote it. Real prize project that I'm working on is a collaborative grouping together of graffiti artists and comic book artists to kind of show like the underground marriage that's always existed between the two art forms, and the influence that graffiti artists have on comic book artists and comic book artists have had on graffiti artists. And it's it will ultimately be a book that will show and express all the different forms of how a graffiti artist and a comic book artist can collaborate on one-theme topics.
What's the best comic book turned movie, in your opinion?
All I can think of is Iron Man because I just saw it.
Okay, all right, that's good.
I mean, the first Iron Man.
That's a good answer.
The first Iron Man, because I like the campiness of it. Okay. You know, you almost didn't take it too serious.
And what about the worst comic book turned to movie, in your opinion?
Spider-Man 3.
Which movie would you rather take? Star Wars Episode 1 or Transformers 2?
Would I rather take?
Which one would you rather? Transformers 2.
Transformers 2 or
Star Wars Episode 1?
Transformers 2.
Transformers? He said Transformers 2. All right. Okay.
Wait, I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding. That I would take as if I had to choose.
If you was stuck on the island. Okay, look. If you was the lesser of two evils. If you stuck on the island with one movie theater and the two movies that were playing was Episode 1 of Star Wars and Transformers 2, which one would you watch?
All right, let me change that. Episode 1.
Episode 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So you take Jar Jar over the Coonbots.
Yeah. That's
all right.
Oh, man, I know why you asked the question. Rob Stull, ECBACC 2010, meltingearth.com. You're watching Crazy Al TV.
Yeah.